Namaskara to everybody. Slowly going, we have come to the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the 18th. And another concluding chapter of Bhagavad Gita. It's called Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. He has been saying what moksha is, what sannyasa is. So, moksha is to get a relief from this cycle of birth and death. Sannyasa, we all know, is an attitude of not having ego for having done something. So here is a beautiful chapter with the name Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha Ata Ashtadashodhyaya Moksha Sannyasa Yoga Arjuna Vacha Sannyasasya Mahabaho Tattvamichami Veditum Tyagasya cha Hrishikesha Prutakeshi Nishudana. Bhagavad Gita, I have been saying, is simple and easy. Arjuna asks a simple question. Sannyasasya tattvamichami. I want to know the tattva of sannyasa. What is the sannyasa? I want to know. Sannyasasya mahabaho tattvamichami veditum. What's the principle of sannyasa? And what is the principle of tyaga? Tyagasya cha hrishikesha prutakeshi nishudana. I want to know them, what is sannyasa and what is tyaga separately, which have been used in different chapters of this shloka. He wants a clarification, Arjuna, for our sake. Sannyasasya mahabaho tattvamichami veditum. I want to know the principles of sannyasa. And also I want to know the principles of tyaga. Krishna, could you please tell me? A beautiful question. Probably the last question asked by Krishna, Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. I think we can recite. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha.
Atha Ashtadashodhyayah.
Atha Ashtadashodhyayah.
Moksha Sannyasa Yogaha.
Moksha Sannyasa Yogaha.
Arjuna Vacha.
Arjuna Uvacha.
Sannyasasya Mahabaho.
Sannyasasya Mahabaho.
Tvamichami Veditum.
Tattvamichami Veditum.
Tyagasya cha Hrishikesha.
Tyagasya cha Hrishikesha.
Keshini Shudana.
Prutakeshi Nishudana.
Sannyasasya Mahabaho.
Sannyasasya Mahabaho.
Tvamichami Veditum.
Tattvamichami Veditum.
Tyagasya cha Hrishikesha.
Tyagasya cha Hrishikesha.
Keshini Shudana.
Prutakeshi Nishudana.
Hope you have understood the question which Arjuna has asked. I want to know the difference between sannyasa and tyaga. Are they same? Are they different? What is the difference between sannyasa and tyaga? I want to know in detail, Krishna. That is what he has asked. And Paramatma begins the answer. Bhagavan Vacha, we have come to Kamyanam karmanam nyasam sannyasam kaviyo vidhu sarvakarma palatyagam prahustyagam vichakshana. Krishna, before he giving his idea, he gives us what was prevalent in that time of Krishna. So he says, some people of knowledge say that giving up of the action motivated in desire is sannyasa, and giving up of every karma is said to be tyaga. Kamyanam karmanam nyasam. Giving up of kamya karma, sannyasam kaviyo vidhu. Not Krishna's opinion. Be careful with this. Some people think like this. And then next line, sarva karma palatyagaha. Whatever you have done, offer it back. That is tyaga, they say. So that was the opinions, belief prevalent in those days. Krishna speaks about the belief of his time, what people believed. So now we have to understand it's not the opinion of Krishna. Krishna says this is the opinion among many scholars. I think we can recite. Sri Bhagavan
श्रीभगवानुवाच
काम्यानां कर्मणां न्यासं
काम्यानां कर्मणां न्यासं
संन्यासं कवयो विदुः
सन्न्यासं कवयो विदुः
सर्वकर्मफलत्यागं
सर्वकर्मफलत्यागं
प्राहुस्त्यागं विचक्षणाः
प्राहुस्त्यागं विचक्षणाः
काम्यानां कर्मणां न्यासं
काम्यानां कर्मणां न्यासं
संन्यासं कवयो विदुः
सन्न्यासं कवयो विदुः
सर्वकर्मफलत्यागं
सर्वकर्मफलत्यागं
प्राहुस्त्यागं विचक्षणा
प्राहुस्त्यागं विचक्षणा
कृष्ण कंटिन्यूइंग इट त्याज्यम दोषवदित्येके कर्म प्राहुर्मनीषिणः some other people declare you must give up all karma because there is evil there. Some wise men declare that all actions contain a measure of evil. If you do something, there is something evil. And other people say, Yajna tapak karma na tyajamiti chapare. There are people who say, apare means others. Others who says, you must not give up yajna, dana, tapasu, etc. Yajna, dana, tapak karma, work should not be left. So he speaks about Tyajyam doshavadityeke karma prahur manishinaha. They are extreme people. Every work has something bad with it. Give up all work. That is what some people say, not Krishna's opinion. If we consider that this is Krishna's opinion, Bhagavad Gita will get a bad what should I say? Not perfect one. Tyajyam doshavadityeke karma prahur manishinaha. So every karma is to be left is the opinion of some people. And some other people say, Yajna dana tapakarma natyajamiti chapare. Apare means others. Last word of that shloka. Others say, Yajna dana tapakarma are not to be left. They are to be done. So these two shlokas are not Krishna's opinion. The opinion prevalent at the time of Krishna, I think we can recite. Tyajyam dosha vidityeke
त्याज्यं दोषविदित्येके
कर्म प्राहुर्मनीषिणः
कर्म प्राहुर्मनीषिणाः
यज्ञदान तपःकर्म
यज्ञदानतपःकर्म
न त्याज्यमिति चापरे
न त्याज्यमिति चापरे
त्याज्यं दोषवदित्येके
त्याज्यं दोषवदित्येके
कर्म प्राहुर्मनीषिणः
कर्म प्राहुर्मनीषिणः
यज्ञदान तपःकर्म
यज्ञदानतपःकर्म
न त्याज्यमिति चापरे.
न त्याज्यमिति चापरे.
For this shloka 2 and 3 you can write not the opinion of Krishna but opinion prevalent at the time of Krishna. That will make entire thing clear for you. We go to the next one. निश्चयं शृणु मे तत्र त्यागे परसत्तम त्यागो हि पुरुष व्याघ्र त्रिविध संप्रकृतः. When he said about the others' opinion about sannyasa and tyaga, Krishna wants to tell in detail his opinion. Nischayam shruno me tatra. I will give you definite opinion of mine, Arjuna. त्यागो ही पुरुष व्याघ्र त्रिविध संप्रकीर्तितः. Tyaga is also of three types. Tyaga is Satvika, Rajasa, and Tamasa. So Tyaga also, as he said in the earlier chapter, Yajnadana Tapakarma. So here also he is saying Tyaga could also be Satvika, Rajasa, Tamasa. Nishchayam Shunume Tatra Tyage Bhartasattama. Bhartasattama is an word addressed to Arjuna by Krishna. I will speak you in detail about the Tyaga. And Tyaga is of two types. Tyago hi Purusha Vyagra. He refers to Arjuna again as a Purusha Vyagra. A tiger among men. Bold he is. So he says Tyaga is also of three types. And in whatever he says like this, he explains. You can learn next many shlokas will be explaining about these ones. When it is Satvika, when it is Rajasa, when it is Samasa, and so on. And we go to the next shloka. Let's recite this. Nishchayam Shrunume Tatra
निश्चयं शृणु मे तत्र
Tyage Bharata Sattama
त्यागे भरतसत्तमा
Tyago hi Purusha Vyagra
त्यागो हि पुरुषव्याघ्र
Vividah Samprakirtitaha
त्रिविधः सम्प्रकीर्तितः
Nishchayam Shrunume Tatra
निश्चयं शृणु मे तत्र
Tyage Bharata Sattama
त्यागे भरतसत्तमा
Tyago hi Purusha Vyagra
त्यागो हि पुरुषव्याघ्र
Vividah Samprakirtitaha.
त्रिविधः सम्प्रकीर्तितः
Continuing, Krishna says, Yajna Dana Tapakarma Natyajam Kari. Underline that shloka, one of the greatest. Yajna Dana Tapakarma Natyajam Kari Mevatat. Yajno Danam Tapasyeva Pavanani Manishinam. Pavanan, they are the purifiers. Yajna, Dana, Tapak, Karma, which he had already explained in the 17th previous chapter, he speaks about them once again. Yajna, Dana, Tapak, Karma. And Yajna, I give a warning to the readers of Bhagavad Gita. When Krishna says Yajna, it doesn't mean only that we offer in fire to gods. Traditional Yajna, no. He said, Dravya Yajna, Tapo Yajna, Yoga Yajna, Tatapare, Swadhyaya Yajna, Yajna, Sedaya Samshita Vrtaha. All good work that you do to the society is an yajna for Krishna, which we have to remember. So here, I'm drawing your attention here because tradition speaker says, you have to do the yajna, Krishna said it. Without saying what Krishna meant by yajna. Lok Sangraha is an yajna that he said, Janaka did it. He was a king, he was ruling well. He did not have any expectation from what he did. That was also considered Lok Sangraha is an yajna. Therefore, when the yajna is used, we must not be driven away by the thought that we must, what we offer in fire. That is one. That is one. I don't say that is not said by Krishna. What he said about the yajna, Kshine Punye Martyalokam Vishanti. That was the 21st sloka of 9th chapter. Even if you do your greatest of the great yajna, you will go to the Unnata Lokas. When your punya is over, you will come back. That is what he had said. Or, in the second chapter also, he had a good comment on these things. Vedavadarata Partha Nanyadastiti was 41, 42, 43, I hope. Vedavada, second chapter. Vedavada Prata Partha Nanyadastiti Vadinaha Kamatmanaha Swargapara Janma Karma Paraprada Kriya Vishesha Bhuvalam Bhogeshwari Gatim Prati. That is what comment Krishna made about this one. They mislead you, don't be misled. That is what Krishna is saying to Arjuna. There are people around who mislead, not to be misled. They will be there also. Always they will be there. So one must be alert. about this. Therefore, I refer, when I come to this yajna word, we must not limit it only to the yajna done offering something with Purohit mantra in the fire. For Krishna, yajna is a great thing. Arjuna doing war is also an yajna to protect dharma of the land. Therefore, if we just go back to yajna, offering something in the fire, they say doing some yajna, that is there in Shastra, let them do. I am not against it. But Krishna's opinion of yajna is all that good work you do is yajna. Yajna dana tapa karma natyajyam karya. Underline, I think we have underlined. Yajna dana tapa karma natyajyam. Don't stop. Karyamevatat. You ought to do it. Krishna says, you ought to do yajna, you ought to give dana, you ought to do tapas, you ought to do your karma. Natyajyam, don't leave it, you ought to do it. Karyamevatat. Beautiful. You ought to do it. Why? Next line speaks about it. Yajnodanam tapasyaiva pavanani manishinam. They purify you. They are the purifiers of human beings. Therefore, you have to do yajna, dana, tapas, karma, must not leave. They are the purifier. Yajnoda pavanani mani. You can underline specially for pavanani manishina. Pavana means they will make you great. They will make you pure. This is an important shloka. You have to underline and more than that, take them to the heart. Yajna dana tapakarma natyajyam karyavayojat. Yajna dana tapassu and karma are not to be stopped, they are to be done. Yajnodanam tapasyaiva pavanani manishinam. Yajna dana tapassu are the things that purify a wise man. Therefore, one ought to do it. There is no going away from them. Krishna recommends to Arjuna and to every listener. I think we can recite. Yajnadana tapa karma
Yajnadana tapah karma
natyajyam karmevatat.
natyajyam karyameva chattat.
Yajnodanam tapasyaiva
Yajnodanam tapaschaiva
pavanani manishinam.
pavanani manishinam.
Yajnadana tapa karma
Yajnadana tapah karma
natyajyam karmevatat.
natyajyam karyameva tat.
Yajnodanam tapasyaiva
Yajnodanam tapaschaiva
pavanani manishinam.
pavanani manishinam.
And he continues, how we ought to do yajna dana tapa karma, etc. How should we do? He has to explain. Etanyapiti karmani sangam tektva palani. Underline that. This also you have to read without attachment, without expectation of the result. Without etanyapiti karmani, you have to do all this. Which are the all these? Yajna dana tapa karma. What he said in the earlier shloka. You have to do all this. Sangam tektva palanicha. Beautiful. Without attachment, sangam tektva, without expecting result. Karmanyavadikarase, he had told in the 47th shloka of second chapter. Karmanyavadikarase mahapaleshu kadachana. Not for Krishna's safety, but for our safety. When you do your job, you just relax. Leave it to me to give you the result that is to be given. So he also says, Etanyapitu karmani sangam tektva palani. These ought to be done with perfect detachment and not expecting results. Kartavyaniti me partha. Ought to be done, that's all. That's your duty, that's all. Kartavyaniti. Arjuna, it's your duty. So you do it. Nishchitam matamuktamam. I think this is my definite opinion. Great opinion. So, They are to Yajnadana tapas are to be done Sangam Tektva Palanicha. Without attachment, without expecting of result. And how should we do? Kartavyaniti. We have to do it. There is no other go. As long as we are alive, we have to be doing some work. Why don't you do some good work? Nai kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya karam krut, he said in the third chapter. Cannot live without doing work even for a second. So when you do a good work, that's time well spent. Therefore, you have to do it as your duty. Kartavyaniti me partha. It's your duty. Thinking that it is your duty, one has to do. One has to do it. Which one? Yajna, dana, tapa, karma. I think we can recite. Etanyapito karmani
एतान्यपि तु कर्माणि
sangam tektva palani cha
सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा फलानि च
kartavyaniti me partha
कर्तव्यानीति मे पार्थ
nishchitam matamuttamam.
निश्चितं मतमुत्तमम्
Etanyapito karmani
एतान्यपि तु कर्माणि
sangam tektva palani cha
सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा फलानि च
कर्तव्यानीति मे पार्थ
कर्तव्यानीति मे पार्थ
निश्चितं मतमुत्तमम्.
निश्चितं मतमुत्तमम्
If it is not done in that manner, what is it to be called? He said, Yajnadanta pakarma natyajam karyochet in the shloka number 4. And then in 5 also he said you have to do all those things. And what if we don't do that like that? नियतस्य तु संन्यासः कर्मणो नोपपद्यते मोहात् तस्य परित्यागः तामसः परिकीर्तितः. If you stop doing some action which you ought to do because of confusion, niyatasya tu sannyasam karmano mohat tasya parityaga. With confusion you did not do some work you ought to do. That is called tamasa. So one ought to do it. First of all, if we don't do it, when it is tamasa, Krishna is telling to Arjuna and to us. So, if you do not do something which you ought to do, as he said, Yajnadana tapakarma, thinking that they are difficult, that you cannot do it because of confusion or ignorance, then that tyaga is, you did not do any tyaga there. Even if you have stopped doing it, if it is considered to be a tyaga, that is a tamasa tyaga. You did not leave it because you are great and left it. It was tamasa. Because you had confusion, because you had ignorance, you left it. That's not the ideal thing. So I think we can recite. Niyatasya tu sannyasah
नियतस्य तु सन्न्यासः
कर्मणो नोपपद्यते
कर्मणो नोपपद्यते
मोहात् तस्य परित्यागः
मोहात् तस्य परित्यागः
तामसः परिकीर्तितः.
तामसः परिकीर्तितः
नियतस्य तु सन्न्यासः
नियतस्य तु सन्न्यासः
कर्मणो नोपपद्यते
कर्मणो नोपपद्यते
मोहात् तस्य परित्यागः
मोहात् तस्य परित्यागः
तामसः परिकीर्तितः.
तामसः परिकीर्तितः
We will stop at that to do the prayer, Guru.